Where's the EQ on the reverb? Delay time? Delay. Turn up the feedback. Turn up the feedback. Turn up the feedback. Wait. Pan the condenser to the left and the dynamic to the right. Lower the threshold. Raise the output. Wait. Set the frequency range. High pass. This week's guests are from a music project called Dragons in Gardens. I was browsing SoundCloud one day and I came across their song with the same title, Dragons in Gardens. And for some reason, it had the same feel to me as some classic psychedelic 70s music that I have been in love with for a very long time. And I attempted to contact them, but didn't get a reply at first. Instead, I was led down a rabbit trail to the person who mastered their single, and his name is Emre. Emre was quick to respond, and I was able to interview him, and you can listen to my interview with him in the Lady Audio episode number 7. And I'll post a link to that show too in the show notes. And anyway, after a little while, Dragons in Gardens messaged me and agreed to do an interview. So, without further ado, we welcome Ami and Gizem to the show. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Lady Audio, for the opportunity.
Thank you. We're so happy to be here and speak with you today.
How did Dragons in Gardens get started?
So, Ami and I, we met during a musician exchange program called OneBeat in October 2015, which is the last October. And so we had a chance to jam around, and we just realized we make really nice music together. And that's how we started Dragons in Gardens.
Cool. And where are each of you from?
Yeah, so I am originally from the stars, and Gizem is as well, but we were dropped off. So I was dropped off in Durham, North Carolina. So I was born and raised in the American South, and Gizem is originally from Turkey. And so, we're from different parts of the world, but, we come together for one beautiful thing, which is music.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You guys are so far apart. And how do you collaborate while being so far away from one another?
Well, we do a lot of Skype. Skype is like our best friend. So we, once we met at OneBeat, we decided that we wanted to continue our collaboration, and that's how Dragons in Gardens was born. And so we decided that we were going to Skype weekly, and just hold each other accountable to the music that we wanted to release. And we've been doing that faithfully almost a year now. We've been Skyping every week. We have meeting notes in our own Google Drive folder, and we also use Dropbox. So we're just really dedicated to consistently communicating with each other, and that's really what has helped us to continue creating music, even being physically distant.
Yeah, I know it must be kind of tough not being close together for doing something so intricate. Like, you have to send files back and forth and all of that. It must be really time consuming.
Yeah. Time is relative, definitely. We are not as fast of a duo that is physically together, maybe, but eventually our goal is the same with this kind of a duo. So it's actually it really doesn't matter. In the end, we make the music, and that's all.
Yeah, that's cool. And how did you meet Emre? Was it in Turkey?
Yeah, I know Emre from my, let me say, musician bubble in Istanbul. Uh, and we worked in many different projects together. He was mostly making live sound or mastering, mixing for other projects that I was involved. So I know him from Istanbul.
That's really cool. And so, why did you choose him out of all the people in your music bubble? Why did you choose him to master your music?
I mean, so actually we contacted to a couple of mastering engineers, but I think he was the only one who was interested in and like very fast responding, as you also experienced.
Yeah.
So it was actually also more not choosing him, but more agreeing to do something together. So we try to make always like our network visible and like be in contact with our network in a in a hot contact. So it happened so that he said okay, and I trust his ears very much about how a modern sound should be. So it was perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, he really does have a good ear for more like a modern sound. I really liked listening to his music online under Stiver.
Yeah. Yeah. Still.
Yeah. Yeah. And so before we get into how the song was recorded, I would like to ask you about the details on how the song Dragons in Gardens was written. So, like, was the music written first and then the lyrics? Like, how did that come to be?
Yeah, so you actually nailed it with beautiful intuition. We were sharing music as we were building during OneBeat, and so Gizem was just playing different songs that she already had, and one of the first one was the instrumental for Dragons and Gardens. And so she had composed it actually for a film previously, and so the instrumental was already in the film, but she played me the instrumental, and I just fell in love with it immediately. And I was like, "Oh, Giz, let me write something to this." And so she was like, "Yeah, sure." So we're on the bus, and we're sitting beside each other, and I'm just writing the song, feverishly, and then we end up kind of restructuring the song in a sense around the lyrics once I had finished those, and from there we just kept kind of polishing the song to make it this new, I guess, this more evolved work. Once I wrote the lyrics and we recorded the vocals.
Oh, that's cool. And so you were actually physically on a bus together?
Mostly.
When was that? And where
if,
was it?
if not in a hotel room, definitely in a bus. Oh, yeah. It was during OneBeat, as we said, like last October. This is a residency, artist residency program that
Okay.
lasts for 1 month, and half of it is literally the residency, and half is the tour. Like we toured around the Pacific coast. So that's when all these happened.
Ah, okay. So you were saying about the actual structure of the song. So there was kind of the whole instrumental piece was kind of complete, but then once you put you had once you had the lyrics, then you kind of rearranged the structure of the song to match the lyrics. Is that right?
Yes. Yep, that's how it worked. And it was really a great exchange because the music was done, but then we rearranged the music around the lyrics, and then we rearranged the lyrics around the music, kind of in the final stage. So it was this great kind of this seamless creation around itself, lyrics and music and lyrics.
Yeah. It seems like the song kind of took on its own, like it almost formed its own structure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in a
true.
sense.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And on SoundCloud, it also mentions OneBeat for the recording. So, who is OneBeat, and what did they do to contribute to the song?
Sure. So OneBeat, so as Gizem talked about, OneBeat was the residency that we were on for a month. And so one of the really awesome things about OneBeat is that we are traveling. So and we're writing on the road, we're performing, and so they had a lot of equipment, awesome microphones, preamps, audio interfaces, cables, monitors, you name it, that we could use on the road to record, if the inspiration came. So our last location was a place outside of Seattle, on an island outside of Seattle. And so we recorded the vocals for Dragons and Gardens in like this random art space room with a SM7B. And so we credited OneBeat for the recording because we used their equipment during the residency to record the actual vocals for the track. And then, of course, we mixed them and did things later to them.
Wow. Okay. And so, since the music was kind of written beforehand, were the drums chosen beforehand, and that drum beat? And I wanted to ask details about the types of drums that you used for the song, and so I just want to know more of the details about how the beats were created and stuff like that.
The beats, actually, like it's not a drum rack, like the samples I picked beforehand. And first of all, I use Ableton Live for production.
Monopolies on her kisses, crystals under her pillow. Solidify sacred wishes. Oh, this is the color purple. Never knowing why we care, but we care more. Never knowing why we're here, but we're here. What is a blur is also is clear. The magical mystery always appears. Never knowing why we care, but we care more. Never knowing why we're here, but we're here. What is a blur is also it's clear. The magical mystery always appears. Dragons and gardens, dragons and gardens, dragons and gardens, yeah. Dragons and gardens, dragons and gardens, dragons and gardens. When you look for me, you can find me. In dragons and gardens, dragons and gardens, dragons and gardens. Honeysuckle parade, love language charades, hot air balloon full of dreams. What does it all really mean to you? Never knowing why we care, but we care more. Never knowing why we're here, but we're here. What is a blur is also is clear. The magical mystery always appears. Never knowing why we care, but we care more. Never knowing why we're here, but we're here. What is a blur is also it's clear. The magical mystery always appears. Dragons and gardens, dragons and gardens, dragons and gardens, yeah. Dragons and gardens, dragons and gardens, dragons and gardens. When you look for me, you can find me. Dragons and gardens.
but Ami uses Logic, right? I mean.
Yes, I use Logic.
But for the beats, some standard packs, for instance, 808, we had the sample pack, and I use also samples from packs of loop masters. They have really nice packs, and also a little bit of field recordings to give more a random and organic feeling, like to process them in a way that they sound like a percussive element. And it's 808 kick and a layered snare and cymbals from sample packs and field recordings. I can just summarize.
Wow. Okay. What were the field recordings of?
For this song, it was just like stepping on dry leaves in a park, but then they can sound really nice as a shaker or something for the highs.
Wow, that's really beautiful.
It is really.
Yeah. And I'd also like to ask about the details, more details about the vocals. So, what type of microphone did you say you used?
We used an SM7B, a Shure SM7B, and the reason why we used that microphone was, again, it was one of the microphones that OneBeat had. They had several of them, actually, as we were on tour that we could use. But the key with, the Shure SM7B is it's a directional mic, so it's not going to pick up a whole lot of room noise. It's basically just going to capture only what's in front of it. And so because we were recording in random spaces, and actually, I want to clarify, I think we actually recorded the Dragons in Gardens vocals in like a kind of a hotel room in a sense. So there were other recordings actually going on in rooms right beside us. And so like we, so it was just a great mic for us to literally, not capture anything but what we were trying to capture, what we intentionally wanted to capture. And I can't remember, Giz, do you remember what preamp or audio interface we used?
I think it was Scarlett Focusrite.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think that just warmed up the vocals. But it was a pretty simple setup, and I think that using the SM7B was key just because of the scenario we were in and because of how directional it is, and it kind of just cuts out everything else.
Yeah, that's cool. And then what kind of reverb did you use on the vocals?
As I said, I use Ableton Live, and mostly I use built-in effects, built-in devices, and I use Ableton's reverb device. But the challenge was more because the sound universe that was already there was really wet and like reverby. The challenge was how to embed the vocals spatially to the same level or like to the same place. So like Ableton Live's built-in reverb with kind of like long pre-delay, so that it's a big space, it gives a big space, like big size. And also I always like tweaking around with reflect and diffuse amounts. So this, I could say, like especially what made the reverb this way, shall I do this again, or?
No, that's great. I wanted to ask, so when you were talking about the reverb that was already there in the recording, and then did you try to match that reverb with the Ableton Live plugin?
Maybe repeat again.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure about how you did that because you said that there was already some type of a reverb just in the recording on the vocal.
No, I meant the background. The music had such a wet and big space, and the vocals, like, of course you record them dry, and like you have to keep them somewhere in this space that we create. So it was more, the challenge was about the reverb. I meant where to put spatially, where to put the vocals, so that they are not super they are still like distinct from the rest because they are the lead, but still in the same kind of language of space. So this is a challenge, and it needs some tweaking around with parameters.
Wow, that's a really I think that's a really great detail to know that you were listening to that dry vocal, but then having the music that you already had, with it being very wet with reverb and delays and things like that, to try to have a reverb on the vocal that was going to be complementary to that. That's a really great detail.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so did you use anything else on the vocals, like compression?
Yeah, compression, plus the SR, like I think people always use that for the S's that, like, that are, clipping, plus reverb, delay, and a bunch of EQs, of course, almost after every effect. Yeah, this is all we have.
Okay, cool. And then I wanted to get into the synth sounds. So what did you get to get those synth sounds? I mean, they sound really smooth. They're not harsh at all. I don't know how to try to describe that, but I think because I have been listening to a lot of electronica music lately, and a lot of times the synth sounds can be really harsh, and then it seems like sometimes people will try to use a reverb or something to smooth them out, or to try to not make them as harsh, but or they'll even use maybe EQ. But in any case, compliments again on the synth sounds for the song. So what did you use, and how did you get the synth sounds?
I again use like built-in devices of Live, but maybe the thing about what makes them smooth is more the layering. So people can encounter that they don't like the sound, how it starts. I mean, the attack of the sound. So I layered them in a way that I like one sounds attack, but the others decay, let's say, and I layer them so that I hear the attack of the one I like and the decay of the one I like. I think that's what made it smooth. So just the layering in a way that, you create actually a new kind of synth rather than using one single device. It gives a dimension, and it gives a lot of control over the envelope of the sound. Right. I can say.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. It's really good learning experience for me. So that's.
I'm happy.
Yeah, thank you. And then I also wanted to give a special shout out to Hannah Devereaux for the photograph of both of you in the forest. So was that also taken in the Pacific Northwest?
Yes, it was. It was taken at Islandwood, which was our last stop and basically our resting place. We had a few days at the very end just to rest after the final performance. And so we, since we had decided our name at that point, Dragons and Gardens, and it was just so beautiful there. You see all the greenery that she captured in the photo, and so we just felt it would be a great place to get a snapshot in it, and it worked out to capture what we embody.
It's a really beautiful photo. So you were traveling with that dress? I have to ask.
So actually, one of our collaborators on the residency, one of the musicians. Her name was Tariru, and she gifted me that dress. It's actually from Zimbabwe, and so she gifted me that dress. And as soon as I saw it, I fell in love. I lost it. And so, yeah, that's where that dress came from. So shout out to her for just gifting me such a beautiful piece.
Great. Yeah, that dress, and then that's you, Gizmo. And what are you holding in your hands? Is that a mixing board? What is that?
Yeah, it's a launch control, innovation MIDI controller.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really great shot. I wanted to change subjects, and in our pre-interview, you mentioned a new word. Well, it's a new word to me, and I wanted to share it with the audience, and it is artivism. And you were mentioning that artivism is like using art to speak about issues that are dear to your heart. And I wondered if you could tell me a little bit more about what artivism is.
Sure. So artivism is activism basically through art. It's the intentional use of our creations to bring awareness and change to things that we stand for and that we're passionate about. And actually, the word artivism was inspired by OneBeat. Was very much inspired by OneBeat, because a lot of us on that residency, we were from all over the world, but one of the very common things about a lot of us is that we were activists in our community, and we were also artists. And so I found that the term artivism encapsulated what the energy of this kind of new breed of artists represents, which is just artists who are in their communities and who are active in change and advocacy, and social justice. And so artivism just kind of came from observing, the similarities with all of us, and just being activists through our art and our community. So that's what artivism is, and kind of where it came from.
Yeah, that's really great. It's really good to hear more artists are, taking stands. Like, I was just talking with a drone artist, Scott Lawler, and he has these really great long titles to his songs. And because it's drone music, there aren't any lyrics there, and kind of like a message in that way. So he uses the drone music, but then also uses these really long titles to make statements. And I had him on the show, and he was a really, really great guest. And it reminds me a lot of that. And then also, well, if I'm going to mention him, I have to mention some other guests too, but I can't mention everybody. But Willie Green also made a really big statement with one of his works. And but it's really, really great to hear more people out there using their art to send messages. And I guess kind of the message I get from Dragons and Gardens is, it's like, well, I get a really strong feeling of just love, like love of music, love of life, and love of like nature and the earth. And so I really get that kind of strong feeling from, and it's just that one song. You guys don't have anything else. It's just that one song that I've heard. So when can people expect to hear more from Dragons and Gardens?
Yeah, so we have the next song coming up that will be released on September 5th, and that is out September 5th, and it's called Diamond. And it will be out on SoundCloud, and it kind of furthers the story of just the fantastical world that we create together. It's about an actual girl with a dragon, and just the adventures that unfold. So that will be available on SoundCloud, Dragons and Gardens, and we also have a video that we'll be releasing as well with that song.
Her dragon's name was Diamond. She always had some money. She wore the color yellow. Her soul was made of honey. She never got involved with things that didn't pay. She put it on the table, told you what to say. All the time she loves you, all the time she cares, but she's loving someone else when you're not there. Playing in the garden with my old friends, playing in the garden with my old friends. I don't even know if they know that we're old friends. Playing in the garden with my old friends, playing in the garden with my old friends, playing in the garden with my old friends. I don't even know if they know that we're old friends. Playing in the garden with my old friends, playing in the garden with my old friends, playing in the garden with my old friends. I don't even know if they know that we're old friends. Playing in the garden with my old friends, playing in the garden with my old friends, playing in the garden with my old friends. I don't even know if they know that we're old friends. Playing in the garden with my old Her unicorn was verde. She didn't have a birthday. Her truth was always empty, but she could give you plenty. She never got involved with those who always called. She didn't ask for much because she had it all. Her dragon's name was Diamond. She always had some money. She wore the color yellow. Her soul was made of honey. She never got involved with things that didn't pay. She put it on the table and told you what to say. All the time she loves you, all the time she cares, but she's loving someone else when you're not there. All the time she loves you, all the time she cares, but she's loving someone else when you're not there. All the time she loves you, all the time she cares, all the time she loves you, all the time she
Super excited about it.
Yeah, videos are really a lot of fun. Where are you going to be recording the video, or where's the footage from?
The video is so a friend of mine from Berlin. She's a great camera woman, Zara Zandia. And when I was back from the States, I was having a home presentation in my place, showing what I did, and I played also, of course, Dragons in Gardens, and she was just immediately saying, I want to do something with you. Then I said, oh, okay, why don't you make a video? And then we just gave her the song and let her, just experiment with her own material. like in an abstract way. So she made a really good job, and yeah, we are just looking forward to have the final version. But yeah, it's also again, this networking thing, or like collaboration, exchange business. These kind of terms we really like and kind of make use of the community feeling.
Yeah.
So she's again now a dragon for us. Like it's a growing community,
That's cool. Yeah. And yeah. I don't know what to say because I might edit this out, but dragons are very, very powerful creatures. And yeah.
Yeah, now you're a dragon too, Lady Audio.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah, dragons, they go in so many different cultures. They're everywhere. And, in some cultures, they're one thing, and other cultures, there's another thing. But, it's just a wide interracial, it's like all around the globe is, every culture has some form of a dragon. So it's really cool.
Yeah. I love that reflection just about how it's a symbol that kind of goes beyond all barriers and just can be molded into whatever you are. It has that freedom, that fluidity. And I think, I don't know if we really thought about that initially when we were just like, hey, we're going to be dragons and gardens. But
yeah.
I think, gardens, just nature, and like you said, love, was definitely a part of who we are. And we had our first meeting in Islandwood during OneBeat, and that's one of the first words we wrote down for our intention for our group and for our duo is love. So super appreciative that you resonated with that. And then just dragons, we're definitely dragons. We're fluid by nature, and we just represent whatever we want to, and we really want people who hear our music to feel the same way, that they can find some piece of themselves in the music, and that it's not any kind of dictatorial music at all. It's just intergalactic community music. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Oh, and okay, so is there anything else that you would like to add for our listeners after we've taken this long trip out into outer space with dragons and gardens? Is there anything else you'd like to add for the people listening?
We can say please keep tuned with us on SoundCloud and wait for more. What else I can say?
Cool. And I'll be sure to post the link to the SoundCloud page for Dragons and Gardens. I'll add that link in the show notes. And then is there anywhere else that the audience can find your music to purchase it or to contact you?
I think it will be available in many digital distribution platforms. The second single, together with the first one, we plan to distribute it also, both of them. So hopefully when this interview is out, they could find us also in Spotify and iTunes, and most probably in Bandcamp also.
Okay. Yeah, Bandcamp would be great. That's like one of my favorite places.
Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, Gizem and Ami, I wanted to thank you so much for joining me today, and I really, really appreciate you taking the time, and I am truly looking forward to hearing more from you and to watching the new video.
Thank you, Lady Audio.
Thank you. It's been an honor and a pleasure to speak with you. So we appreciate you and finding us and reaching out to us and having patience. So we're glad this moment has happened for all of us. It's awesome.